live.
Let's get it.
Yay, we're live. We're live.
Phone, send the link up.
Hold on, wait. Before we get into the actual question, what y'all think about GNX? 1 through 10. What you think?
Right now, just off the top, because I'm in the minority. I think you need more than a week to accurately rate an album, but I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10.
Okay, all right, Chris, what you thinking?
I haven't really sat down and had a road trip. I got a road trip next week. I'm going to Wisconsin to go skiing. So I'm gonna really just let it play a couple times because I'm like, Guyton, I need to hear something a few times before I get. But overall, I would say 8 out of 10. It's solid. I'm not even a Kendrick guy for real, and it's kind of heat to me. So that says a lot. I'm not even a music guy for real, and it says
Gotcha. Special guest Dex, what we got?
I'm thinking an 8 too. Like it's not one of Kendrick's classics. I wouldn't say. It's definitely got like 3 or 4 bangers on there. There's like 1 or 2 skips maybe, but overall, it's a great listen, man. I give it an 8.
Oh, now we got to get into what your skip is. What's the skips?
I don't like the Dodger Blue, man.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a part of Dodger Blue High, but that's all right. What's the other skip? You said 1 and 2. Is it a second skip on there for you? If you say the wrong answer, we will boot you off this show. You will be our shortest guest ever. There is a wrong answer.
I'm gonna just stick to one skip. It's just 1 skip, actually. Just 1 skip. Yeah.
You sure?
I'm gonna tell you.
I'm trying to get booted off.
I'm gonna tell you. If you would have said Luther, shit, boy.
Definitely not.
Boy, this would have been a short-lived show. A married man saying he don't like Luther. I know what you are.
One of my favorite songs is
know
Luther.
Exactly what you are.
It's Luther is surprisingly peekaboo, though.
Hey, listen.
Peekaboo grew on me a lot. It grew on me a lot. I actually don't like the first half of TVO.
What is Kendrick on? And then like the third day, what they talk about? They talk about nothing.
They talk about that.
He been having conversations with himself, bro. He's crazy. He's a maniac.
Let me tell you something. When I heard that man say, I'm tripping and I'm loving it, I said, this is the type of psycho I like. See, people wonder why I like Brian Cushing so much when he played, because he was a psycho that knew he was a psycho and enjoyed being a psycho. Him, Owen Schmidt from West Virginia, all those types of guys. John Henderson used that to get smacked in the face, the guy from the Jag. You a psycho to know you a psycho. I love it. I honestly give this an 8 out of 10 too. I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really good song. I don't think there are any skips, but for me, I'm a hard grader. So like an 8 mean like I could run it. Like I don't got to be in the mood to hear it. I can just hear it at any time and be like, hey, I got you. I like it.
Is it the best album this year?
Is that no? I think Chromacopia got that locked up. I think Chromacopia got that locked up.
A piece. I'm going to give it a little more time.
Don't play.
No, here's my thing. Out of Tyler's last 4 albums, I think Chromacopia is the worst of those 4. And like Chromacopia, I listened to it in a loop. I got to give it more time because, like I said, I listened to Chromacopia basically on a loop until GNX came out. And it was some songs on Chromacopia that I was kind of tired of. I'm not tired of a single song on GNX yet.
We told ourselves that we were not going to be a clickbait podcast. And here you go. Saying that I'm going to say this. I was not a fan of that song with Dolce. I agree. That song, I listened to it once and I said, I'm good on this forever. I tried it one more time.
But I will say I air this bitch out like a queef is an amazing bar. Unfortunately,
it's not a bar. It's not a bar.
It is a bar.
It's not a bar at all.
That is a bar.
As 4 gentlemen that have all made the box beatbox to us at one time or another, I don't think that it's a bar. I don't think. Let's go across the board here. Dex, is it a bar to you? Is that a bar?
Hell.
Exactly. Chris, is it a bar to you?
Nah, it's not no bar. It's not no bar, man.
In the words of them kids from Zoe 101, no bars. Unfortunately, no bars. No bars.
If it wasn't a bar, then somebody would have thought of it before, man. It's such a simple rhyme, but it's never been thought of.
That's a bar for like a middle schooler or something.
Hello?
I heard a middle schooler say it.
Mystical said, I came in with my dick in my hand, but maybe go and put my foot in your ass, be cool, and don't worry about why I'm tripping. Ain't nobody said it before him or after him. Does that make it a bar?
That's because that's assault, okay? That's because that's assault.
I really want Never mind. We're not going to do that because that's going to make the intro too long. And Chris, I need you to introduce our illustrious guest before we get into the rundown here.
All right, let me break it down for y'all. So he was on the show before, right? He's not a stranger to the pod. Sometimes he tune in to the pod, even, you know, shout out to Dex and the support, right? He had his own thing going on YouTube back in the day, but now he's a busy family man now, so he slowed down on that a little bit. But it's my boy Dex. Right, I met him when I was in his dad's mentoring program, Pathway to Excellence. He worked in DMC with me when we was both little interns in high schools. One of our first jobs up there finessing, you know, doing some little work, but actually, you know, just talking hoops, talking everything, you know, loving sports. So introduce y'all to Des. He live out here in Chicago as well. You know, he working man, he's family man, you know, all the typical things you expect. Successful young black man. So we give a round of applause for Dex.
Let's clap it up. Welcome Dex back to the show. Welcome back to the show.
I appreciate you, man.
Now, folks, we got to load the show today. We got to load the show because we haven't even got into the pre-show question yet. And Josh already got me wanting to do some not so great things. And I'm finally not outnumbered by these waffle-colored warriors. We got my man Dex in the building to back me up when they say some ridiculousness. But we've got to get into all the things sports going on right now. I mean, what isn't happening, right? We have got to talk about the NBA Cup and what's going on there. Dex, we got to talk about your Sixers. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But we got to talk about your Sixers. Well, no, they sorry. You good. Never mind, we ain't good with it. But we also got to talk about what we're thankful for out of our sports organizations this year. Because on this panel right here, we got a few guys with teams in first place. You know, Lions in first place of the league right now. You know, first place of the conference. You know, Steelers first place in the AFC North. Who let them boys cook? Why is Russ in the kitchen? He making mac and cheese with the egg, not the roux. And Dex, who's your football team, man?
Eagles, man. First in NFC East.
Eagles are first in NFC East, right there on the Lions' tail. They ain't giving us no room to breathe, boy. I'll tell you what, they follow you up like that kid that want to be the line leader, but just ain't got what it take. But they like right there. You know, that's how close they on the Lions' tail. But let's get into the show, y'all, because we got a hell of a show for y'all today. What's up, y'all? Have a seat. It's your favorite hour of the week with the Facts Over Axe crew. We got the master, the mix master, Josh Guyton in the building.
That is I.
We got the money man, the man playing, Chris Allen in the building.
Right here.
Our first repeat guest, actually no, second repeat guest, famous Dex in the building.
Hi, Dexter.
And then you got, hey, I'm glad you caught the reference. I used to love me some famous Dex back in the day.
I got you.
Until he started beating those shorts, that was my guy. And then you got little old MC, that's me, Kenton Gibbs. Now, fellas, I gotta ask this, okay? We talked about this pre-show, we got into it a little bit, but name a sports organization, a team, a university whose athletic contributions the world would be better without, in your opinion. Talk to me.
Okay, so I could go from this from a different angle, but I'm not. I'm usually the one that bring way too much humor to these topics, and there's a couple college organizations that we could get out of there. However, I'm going with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Rip.
Ooh.
With the clip, with
No
the
Lob City ever? No Lob City?
We would be okay if you erase Lob City from history. We would be okay.
You know what? I'm trying to think, because when I think of erasing a team, I think like, could you tell the story of a sport without that team?
Easily.
And when I think about the Clippers, Lob City was like a side character. Like,
Right.
like
what's Lob City crowning achievement?
I mean,
hitting that buzzer
but
beater
you
and
basically
beating the Spurs in the first round.
I mean,
No,
yeah, I would say you erasing pretty much.
It would be Matt Barnes. It would be Matt Barnes jumping over Derek Fisher fence to go put balls on. I'll say that's their crowning achievement. You know.
I mean, they played together on the Lakers, so it would have happened anyway.
That's fair. That's fair. Never mind. I guess there is no.
Think about.
I would
say. Go ahead.
You
Chris.
eliminate Blake Griffin. You eliminate Blake Griffin peak though, like peak Blake Griffin. You take it out of history.
Blake Griffin on the Pistons better.
I was just about to say that was not peak Blake.
Blake Griffin on the Pistons
Blake?
is better than Clippers Blake Griffin.
Pistons played tripping.
bro, he was hooping. He was hooping, but he wasn't what he was in Clippers, bro. He wasn't what he was.
He wasn't what he was
He
athletically. He wasn't what he was athletically, but player, stop it,
The
man.
only thing that he did better when he was on the Clippers is dunk.
He was a better defender, better passer, better shooter when he was on the Pistons, bro. He just was better.
In this scenario, do the players also never exist, or they're just on other teams?
They're just on other teams. Like
I'm
the
saying
team goes away.
everything they did with that team, everything they did with that team goes away, but they still a player. Yeah.
That's fine then. Blake Griffin probably would have won a championship somewhere else. Chris Paul could have been in a situation where he could have possibly been more healthy. I don't like I don't like duplicate city teams, like 2 LA teams, 2 New York teams. I've never liked that. The Clippers have never sniffed the finals, and they've been around since the early 70s. You can tell the story of the NBA. Like, even if you think about a team that never made the finals, you can't tell the story of the NBA without the Grizzlies. You can't tell the story of the NBA without the Kings. The Clippers have been the Lakers' little brother since they moved to LA.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that answer. I like it.
That's not a bad answer. That's not a bad answer.
I like the duplicates argument too. Where I was leaning was Charlotte Hornets / Bobcats. 'Cause I was looking at they're just like the most forgettable franchise in the whole league. No shade, but when I was looking at all-time teams, who's the best player in like Charlotte history? Kemba?
It gotta be Kemba.
That's not good.
Was Larry Johnson better than Kemba? I don't think
Glenn
so.
Rice?
That's not like
hot take.
he's solid. Like,
if it wasn't for the grandmama thing, would anybody remember Larry Johnson?
I think Larry Johnson will
Space Jam?
only be remembered like
For the UNLV stuff?
like Thanksgiving just passed, and there'd be your uncle would be like, you don't know about Larry Johnson, but he was averaging you ever get that? Like, man, he'd be baller right now. You go look it up, and he averaged like 12 and 7 for his career. Like, come on now.
That's how I'm gonna treat Jamal McGlure and Corey Maggette in my world. That's how I'm gonna treat both of them. You don't know nothing about Corey.
Hey,
Boy.
I will say one thing about the Hornets. As a Pistons fan that was watching Fox Sports with George Blatt, for some reason, every time we played the Hornets, Jamal McGlure and Jamal Mashburn turned into Kobe and Shaq, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why. Let me tell you something. You don't know nothing about this. You don't know nothing about that Elton Brand. What you know about that Elton Brand? You don't know nothing about Elton Brand, man. You don't know nothing about that.
I mean, the Hornets are title contenders compared to the Bobcats, though. Like, the Bobcats only existed as failures, and I'm thinking of like a Mecca Okafor.
But I don't think you could tell the story of the NBA
Brezec.
without that franchise. There's too many iconic players. Like, even though they weren't good players, they had a lot of iconic players. They had some of the most iconic jerseys ever.
Oh my god! This boy finna say Muggsy Bowles. This man finna talk about Muggsy Bowles. Get him out of here.
He was 5'3" hooping. I never said he could hoop. Well, he could hoop. He was 5'3" in the NBA, but still, he's still an iconic player.
Get him out of here,
Space
man.
Jam. Come on.
Get him out of here, dog.
You can't tell the story of Jordan being a terrible owner.
Bro,
That's a part of the NBA story.
Bro, I'm sorry, bro. We don't care. He bought that team for millions and it's worth $3 billion now. He invested money. That's all he did. He didn't care.
Or maybe the NBA just grew. Every franchise is worth more than it was with Jordan.
Let me tell you something. I agree, Dex. I agree. And I know they're going to try to jump me because I'm going to be in Charlotte this weekend for the ACC championship game. So I know they're going to try to jump me. But it's all right. It's already been too gentrified. As long as you stay away from Sugar Hill, you good. That's neither here nor there. The reality is simple. Okay? I agree 1,000% with that Charlotte take. Chris, who you got, man? Who could we get rid of and everything?
Hey, listen. I'm sorry. You know, I appreciate this, opportunity to say this team, right? But come on down, Jacksonville Jaguars. Y'all do not need to ever exist. Now, what have Jacksonville Jaguars been known for, Gibbs?
Hey, let me tell you something, man. You gonna get Fred T up out the paint? Come on, dog. Come on, man. You can't get Fred Taylor up out of there.
Fred Taylor's all they got. Think about it. What else do they have?
It's enough for me. He's enough for me.
They had Tyron Leftwich.
Bro, John Henderson was literally I was talking about him pre-show.
Think about it. If you eliminate the Jacksonville Jaguars, we would have saw them play meaningful football. They never even played meaningful football.
They did. They did. Remember the time they got to the AFC Championship and they only lost because Blake Bortles he went full Blake Bortles in the AFC Championship against the Patriots. Like, they were right there.
100%. 100%. But guess what, Gibbs? Guess what? You eliminate that franchise, they could have been on the damn Patriots, maybe. We don't know.
You want to see Jalen Ramsey on the Patriots? Who wanted to see? Who would sign up for that?
I will say this.
He was better. He been better with the He was better with the Rams.
I will say this.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't think the Jaguars have been around long enough to qualify for this conversation because the Hornets and the Clippers been trash for half a century. The Jaguars is our age.
Fair.
Yeah. How long have they been?
Fair.
It's like
Well,
90?
fair. Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw in an institution that's been around for a very long time. A very, very long time. Get them bum-ass UNC dirty foot clubbers out of here, man. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Hold on, bro. You let go of Michael Jordan in college. You let go of a lot of people get rid of UNC.
Michael Jordan,
hold on.
Lawrence Taylor, Julius Peppers, get them all out of here. Let me tell you.
Are you saying this because you went to state, though? Are you saying this because you went to NC State?
First of all, UNC needs to teach their man how to squabble. Don't get beat during the game and in the fight after the game. That's embarrassing. But more importantly, I say that for this reason. I am a personal believer in, at the end of the day, sometimes you have to make a sacrifice for the greater good. And the way in which the mythology surrounding Michael Jordan has destroyed our ability to talk about sports in any meaningful way. Who's that just doubled up? I was just about to say, who's that just doubled up? Is that me? Is that me? Who is that? Who is that just doubled up? All right, we good now?
Check.
That was you.
That was me?
I think we cool.
All right, cool. Well, either way you cut or slice it, the way that Michael Jordan has destroyed the collective psyche because of all the things that surrounded him and the mythology that surrounded him, it, like, his mere existence as he, like, was in the world destroyed people's ability to just be like, hey, winning is a team thing. You guys know that, right? Like, every sports discourse being destroyed the way it was can be traced to two things. The same way that we can trace almost everything bad in America to Ronald Reagan, we can trace almost everything bad in sports media to Michael Jordan. If you think I'm lying, think about all the stuff that people talk about with sports media that's terrible. The fact that you can never praise one guy without tearing down another. When did that start? When LeBron hit the stage where he started to surpass Michael Jordan. Before then, it wasn't like that. You could say, hey, Amma Hakeem is the greatest center guy. Amma Kareem is the greatest center guy. Great. I like your opinion. Cool. Now, it's like, bro, if you don't think Shaq is the greatest center to ever do it, I kind of think you don't know ball for real. I just think you don't know ball. There's no way. And then on top of that, we talk about sports media personalities being too close with players. Wasn't Ahmad Rashad riding around with Jordan like during the finals?
Yeah, that was
Did that ever happen before that? Was Cronkite and company chilling with Magic Johnson like, hey, you got to find this game tonight, man. Let's go ahead and no. Oh, and let's not even start. Let's not even delve into the way that stars start complaining at a crazy clip. It started with Jordan. No stars complained and got calls, and we're seeing getting calls, and everybody just swept it under the rug like Jordan. So, with that in mind, get rid of those bozos. Get rid of those clowns. I don't give a damn about none of them. I don't give a damn about none of them, okay? You know what I mean? Hey, they can try to
That's a lot of history you were erasing, Gibbs. That's a lot of history.
Don't give a damn about none of that. Don't care. Get rid of them. Get them gone. Don't need them. And again, you know, I'm happy with them. I think our lives would all be pretty much the same without those bozos existing how they do. I'm just saying. Without him hitting that game winner in the national championship, without him being in the national championship because of Dean Smith, Jordan doesn't get mythologized. We now have normal sports discourse instead of every Ravens loss being, is Lamar Jackson really a good quarterback? Like, is he quarterbacky enough? It doesn't happen without one guy, and that's Michael Jordan. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I rest my case. Get rid of those bozos. Get rid of them. You know what I mean?
I can't even argue with you because you made such a good case, but it's still like you get rid of a 200-year institution with it's a lot of sports history tied up in UNC.
And again, I think that it will take multiple generations of sports journalists to change what has happened because of Jordan. I think I think at the end of our lifetime, we'll start to see it meaningfully reverse. But until then, oh no. We are going through at least 40 years of GOAT debates and every game being, what does this mean to such and so's legacy? I think we got at least 40 years of that in bound. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? We'll see.
Yes, it's funny you bring up legacy because we got Embiid coming up later in the show.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to call audible right now. I know Embiid is supposed to be at the end of the show, but Dex, we need to hear you speak up for your boys. We got you on the show, and your 76ers. You know, with all due respect, it's getting crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious in Philadelphia every time they try to hoop right now. Dex, what's going on with your boys, man? Is it an Embiid problem? Is it a team problem? What's going on?
And let me pause too before you go, Dex. They're in the cup play right now against the Hornets with no LaMelo Ball and no Miles Bridges, and they might win by 4 points, by the way. So you have everybody but Embiid playing for the Sixers. So just adding on. Okay.
Oof. What's going on with your boys?
I don't think we can hear.
Uh-oh. Did Dex get out of here? Not he done cut his own mic. Not he said, hey, y'all don't want to hear what I got to say.
He's too ashamed of what's going on with these Sixers, man.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie and say there's a lot to be proud of, but
can y'all hear him?
We can hear you.
Yes,
we can
yes,
hear
sir.
you. What's going on, man? Because I believe, let me check and make sure of this, but I am fairly certain that those guys have a worse record than the Detroit Pistons. What's going on?
Absolutely. Man, I don't even know where to start. It's like the problem. You asked what the problem is. It's not just Embiid's fault. It's a team culture. Is like it's not good, and it's been bad ever since we had a history of intentionally trying to lose. You can't just go from being 10-72 and blatantly tanking in front of the whole league and just go star hunting and think you're gonna be a successful organization. Top down, it's a mess. Like, obviously Embiid as your best player, he's not a good leader. He's never been a leader. He's an insanely talented guy, but you need your leaders to be available. You need them to be present, and that's the risk you take with drafting a guy like him. Like he was picked third because he was injury prone. He missed his first 2 years of his career with a knee problem, and your best player, he's your best player, but he's definitely not your leader. He physically can't be present for the team when they need him, and you can't rely on him. So it's unfortunate, man, because I actually had a tweet that listed out like all of the most heartbreaking things that have happened just in the past 10 years with this team, and this year's this is light. Like, this is like the fifth worst thing that's happened. Like, when you think about James Harden leaving, calling Daryl Morey a liar, talking about the whole Doc Rivers situation, and he didn't help the whole thing about the culture. Like, everyone's always throwing someone else under the bus. Oh, it's his fault. Right. It's his fault. This is not my job. Like, if you remember our GM with his burner account on Twitter, that's an organizational failure. Like, the fact that that's so public and everyone can see that and react to it. Choosing Jimmy over Tobias, and obviously this whole year has been a mess. When you think about bad draft decisions, like Markelle, it felt like the right idea at the time. We all know how that turned out. The thing that I find more egregious is that we literally drafted Mikal Bridges and traded him right away for Zaire Smith, and I don't even know if he's on a G League team right now. And it's just like it's a
Mikal just formed the big three in New York.
And he is having some struggles right now, but they're able to kind of hide some of his struggles right now. But I mean, I didn't even get into the Kawhi shot. I didn't even talk about Ben Simmons and all that. So it's just like a history of losing and failure. It's embedded in the culture. It is what it is, and it sucks, man. It's a really terrible situation.
I don't mean to cut you off. I just did a little bit of digging. Do you know what year the Sixers drafted Mikal Bridges?
That would have been 2018.
Yeah, so that was before the 18-19 season. Do you know when Zaire Smith's last year in the NBA was?
2020.
It's the 2018-19 season.
Man.
All right. I appreciate the spiel, Dex, but I can't let you off that easy, man. I can't let you off that easy.
Absolutely
right?
not.
So what are your thoughts about Joel Embiid getting called out by his co-star, right? I mean, it's one thing that, like, for example, I'm a plant manager, right, over a couple facilities now, right? And it's one thing my production manager called me out saying I'm never there, but I'm always telling everybody what to do, right? And how I would react. I would personally react like, okay, I'm never going to be in a situation where someone going to talk to me like that when I have the authority, right? So what is your thoughts on Embiid getting called out in front of his team by his co-star, right?
Right. I mean, Joel's leadership has only always been by example, by how he shows up on the court, and he's dropping 70 or he's leading the league in scoring, and he's not on the court. So just like how a coach can lose the locker room, Joel has fully lost the trust of his teammates, and the fact that it's basically a completely new roster this year, that doesn't help. These guys don't know him. They just think that's what Joel is doing. He's showing up late. He's openly saying he's not playing in back-to-backs. That's how y'all do it here. Okay. So that respect is earned, not given. I think he just got his MVP and thought that would come with a certain level of respect that it's just not there. So right. I mean, he deserves to be called out. It starts with him. We're not a contender or a playoff team even without him. You see our record without him. It's not it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big set the tone guy. Like when I go to work, I'll start the day off. Everybody got to be in the conference room for a production meeting, right? That's just how I am. And I come in there full of energy, 8 in the morning, and I'm lit, right? I'm coming in there, hey man, how was that basketball game last night? Get the team pumped up. This is what we're gonna execute today. This is how we're gonna end the day today, right? So I'm a big set the tone guy. But here, I gotta say this too, right? So the ownership for Philadelphia, right? They saw how Daryl Morey worked his way out of Houston. And I'm a Houston Rockets guy, right? You can see Houston Rockets on my wall right here, right? And I'm a Miami Heat guy on this wall over here. But anyway, you can tell the way Daryl Morey left the Rockets situation that he ain't leave on the best of terms, right? And what I mean by best of terms is essentially they was chasing him out there with pitchforks, the way he handled the James Harden situation, the way he handled the Chris Paul situation, the way he handled the Russell Westbrook situation. I mean, brother started off GM of the year, doing all types of moves, and now he had a messy situation in Houston, got let go, and then Philly said, oh, that's a good idea to sign him. Right after signing Doc Rivers, right? So, I mean, or I think they did it right before they bought Doc Rivers there. So I just think from the top down, if you even look at those drafts, and Guyton's our resident drafting expert, who are the picks that came after Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz in those drafts?
Trying to think. Obviously, Tyrese Maxey was probably the greatest draft pick, and I'd have to look at the history, but it's probably our best draft pick ever at 21 or whatever. Obviously, Jared McCain is having himself a year. He's been the only bright spot. But between who else? It ain't been much.
So who was the picks in the draft after Ben Simmons and Markelle? Guyton? Did you pull it up?
You had Mikal Bridges, who they traded. Landry Shamet was a first round pick. Ty Jerome, Tyrese Maxey, Jaden Springer.
Ooh.
I think wait. I think Chris was saying who was drafted directly after.
No, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in order.
Ben Simmons was 1, who was 2 and 3.
It was Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown was 2. Jaylen Brown was 3. Brandon Ingram was 2.
Yep.
And Sabonis was 11. And I also think Siakam and DeJounte Murray was in that draft too.
But I'm not about to do revisionist history.
Okay.
Like it was the right pick at the time. Obviously, it did not work out at all. But
I disagree.
Expect the guy to at least learn how to shoot a free throw, right? You disagree with that? Right,
I strongly disagree, and let me explain to you why. Anybody who knows me, who's seen me on this show, has heard me say this a million times, and I'll say it a million more. anytime there's something in your scouting report about lacks competitive fire, that's all I need to see. You're not going to touch my organization. You're not going to touch my organization. You combine lacks competitive fire with injury prone, and you thought that was going to work out?
Ben was not injury prone.
Markelle Fultz. No. I'm saying Markelle Fultz, I will give you that. That's the right pick. We looked at Markelle Fultz like, hey, we haven't seen a guard like this.
That's Kyrie. They was calling him Kyrie Jr. Like, yeah, he was like that.
But Kyrie Jr. with a 40-inch vertical, like that, he was different.
Right.
He was something that we'd never seen.
Right.
Ben Simmons, on the other hand, everybody said we're not sure how he's willing to compete going into the draft. That would have been enough for me to be like, nah, I'm not good. And here's the thing. That same thing would have bit me in the behind with the Anthony Edwards when they said we're not sure how much he loves basketball. Right. But Ben, that would have been one that, no, I don't care how big you are, how fast you are, how good you are downhill. I'm not going to take you. But I will say those top 3 picks, all of them are like Jaylen Brown's the best of that group. And Jaylen Brown, we all know, at his best, he's a 2 on a complete team, a 3 on the team that's top heavy that has to like get to a chip. Nothing beyond that. Nothing beyond that. But I want to say something real quick because the Daryl Morey thing and the process thing were bad. But I think that at multiple points, Philadelphia ignored real life and moved like it was 2K. And in 2K, it makes sense to get a Doc Rivers because he's really good at all these things. And he's hiring Doc Rivers after what we saw in his last couple stints was terrible.
Yep.
Like that objectively, you can't, nobody looks worse for hiring Doc Rivers except the Milwaukee Bucks. That's it. That's the only team. Because they dumbasses did it.
After they hired him after.
That's what I'm saying. They hired him well after. They saw him. But in all seriousness, I think that they had a culture problem that, like you talked about, Dex, it was never addressed. The owners never sat everybody down and said, hey, listen, star player, head coach, GM, all of you all are the leaders of this group. Don't do nothing else to shake up our chemistry here. I don't care if we're mid as hell. We will be the grit and grind Grizzlies of the East because we may never get out. But you know what we are going to build? We're going to build one hell of a culture before y'all are all gone. And if you disrupt that, I will ship your ass on the first thing smoking out of here to basketball purgatory, wherever that is at that point in time, which right now looks like Washington. I will ship your ass off on the first thing smoking down. You will be coaching Kyle Kuzma playing ball on Pelican Bay if you disrupt the chemistry. It never happened. I don't think the owners ever had that conversation. I don't think the GM ever had that conversation. I know that the GM and the coaches didn't have that conversation because why would you bring in Podcast P? That man's most memorable moment with Mike in his face.
Bro.
Am I lying?
When he got hurt after playing 2 minutes, he's already been playing like trash. He averaged like Tobias numbers. And then he got hurt, left the game, and pushed the podcast out later on that day. I'm like, bro, what is going on? We are 2-12 right now. What are you doing making podcast?
And that's my exact point. That team has constantly moved like, hey, this is not real ball. This is not real life. What would y'all stats look like on 2K? What badges would you have? Let's combine them with what he got.
But that's how Daryl Morey works too, because he only knows like 8 or 10 names, and he's like, "Oh, who's the biggest guy? All right, go get him, make it work." And it never has. I don't know. Like he gets reputation as being a creative GM, but he's never won anything. He got into the finals, right? Or maybe just the conference finals.
And here's my biggest question about that. You know what Daryl Morey is. You know he's a Moneyball disciple. You know, hey, that's how he's going to live by Moneyball. He's going to die by Moneyball. And that's all there is to it, right? How the hell long do you need for this experiment to work out before you realize it's cooked? How long? How long do you need to work with this? Oh, go get the best guy in terms of name, as opposed to this guy it objectively cannot work. You have a star that his biggest liability is availability, and you go get a second in command who also can't be available? What the hell are you doing? You talk about a creative GM, Dex. I get it. I know what his strategy is. He said, we're going to fake them out, boys. We're going to make sure that everybody's scouting report says we don't have to account for Embiid or Paul George tonight. We'll get them real relaxed, and then Tyrese Maxey will go for 80. Tyrese, if you can average 80, we'll win 70 games this year. How about it?
He's averaging 80 shots. I'll give him that. That's for sure. He's the only one who could do anything out there besides our rookie.
So let me ask you this. Dex, because this is your team. And I put together packages for people before, you know. Like, right. I'll put together a package for Drake on how he can repair his career. He didn't listen to me. I told him, go get JP, make him a superstar, and, like, stop dropping music for 6 months. He went the lawsuit route. We see how everybody looking at him. So on Facts Over Acts, we trying to save careers. Dex, if you were trying to save the owner's face, if you were, because obviously they don't have a career to save in terms of this, but if you were saying, I'm Dex, I'm the owner now, I need to repair this, what would you do to bring the 76ers back to any type of relevancy?
What would I do? As the owner?
Yeah. You're the owner. Everything is under your control. Any move you want to make it.
I think, first of all, move, let's see. First of all, if you're maybe alluding to a trade Embiid thing, first, I don't think he has any trade value right now.
No. I'm not saying trade Embiid. I'm saying whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, however you want to work it out.
I think you got to give Tyrese Maxey the keys. Fully, right. Unequivocally, he's number one. He's got the work ethic. He's stepped up a lot as a leader, especially this year. He's the most available. And he's going to, hopefully, if he doesn't request a trade, which he probably should, he's going to be around for a long time. So this is your cornerstone. He doesn't necessarily need to be your best player going forward, but right now he's 1A right now. And everyone else has got to kind of fall in line. And a big problem we've had is we're playing a bunch of older guys, older vets. Like, we're one of the shortest, like, heaviest, slowest teams when we put guys in like Eric Gordon is insanely washed right now. We got Reggie Jackson getting clock every now and then.
I did not know that Eric Gordon was still in the league. I will admit that out loud.
He's cooked, bro.
You know what the roster is? You ever be on 2K, you run out of money, and you need about 3 more people before
you got to get all the mid-level exceptions.
That's what it was. That's literally what it was, though. So, I mean, you got to do whatever you can to find the good culture setter type of players. And the unfortunate thing is we had an awesome culture setter in Jimmy Butler, and he was here for half a season. But those are the guys that you trust with the keys. You pay them. You keep those guys around. I'm really liking Jared McCain so far. I had my doubts about him just from like a fit. I didn't think he could really compete athletically or play defense, but he's shown me something. He's shown me some kind of toughness, some kind of heart. So back to your point, like if there's anything on the scouting report that questions your willingness to show up or your willingness to get better, no, we don't even entertain that. So. And eventually, you're just gonna have to get a clean slate because we got an older team, we got an expensive team, and you got guys who are injury prone and unavailable, and that's just not the right foundation. So you're gonna have to get a whole new foundation. And thankfully, this season isn't a complete wash because we've had some glimpses of hope for the future. Obviously, not this year, but you just gotta take whatever small wins you got and try and build from there.
Okay, Chris, Josh, if y'all had to fix this Philly mess, what would you do?
All right, if I had to fix it, right, and sorry, Guyton, I know you like to go first, but if I had to fix this right now, I'm keeping a buck with y'all. I go down, take the first flight to South Florida. I say, Eric Spoelstra, whatever you want, whatever you need, come be my GM. However much you want. The reason why I say that is from the time he stepped foot in Miami, he has had Pat Riley as his boss, right? From the time he stepped foot in Miami. If anybody knows about how to change a culture, because that Lakers team back in the day, but when Magic was there, was nothing but clowns until Pat Riley was in charge. Hey, if Eric Spoelstra didn't learn anything from Pat Riley. He learned that culture to take you far, far and away. I would say, Eric Spoelstra, whatever you need, come be the GM over here in Philadelphia. You keep your house in Miami and all that. We give you enough to pay for all that while it's down there. When it get cold, you can go down there. You can come back. You can do however you need to do it, but bring your ass up here to Philadelphia. That's what I would do. And that'll get your culture back together.
Josh, what would you do? What is your fix for the Philadelphia 76ers?
So I think you just need an entire culture change, and I'll try to speak about it in a realistic realm of possibility. It's something that you could put a plan over the next few years. For starters, coaching change. You're going to have to lose some money in this process. You're going to have to lose money because you spent a lot of money getting stars that you didn't need to get, paying people that you didn't need to pay, getting the coaching staff that you didn't need to get. You need to go ahead and get you a players coach, somebody that you know can develop these players and people that can scout well. Because just like Dex was saying earlier, regardless of how much money you've put into this team, once Embiid proved himself to be a star, you still don't have that culture in place, because Embiid is the rarest star that you got out of a system of let's tank every year for a decade and see what sticks. And out of, just off the top of my head, they probably spent like 8 straight seasons tanking, and all they got out of that was an injury prone Joel Embiid. So you need to go ahead and start from the bottom. I don't know if you, like I said, Joel Embiid does not have trade stock. You can maybe get some draft picks out of him, but you may have to wait till that contract is done. Paul George, he doesn't have any trade stock. You might have to buy out that contract, which is going to cost you a lot of money. You need to make the decision whether or not Tyrese Maxey is going to be your future, but you need to start getting building blocks. Even if it comes with getting big players or spending big money, you need to start placing building blocks now for who can we draft, who can we put in place to where they start to become this identity that we can have to move forward as a team. And one question for Dex, just because I wouldn't say I'm a Paul George apologist, but like we saw Paul George come up. So it was a piece of me that wanted to see Paul George win something for a long time. And him playing the way that he's playing, one, I thought that was a waste of money. I said on this podcast, giving Paul George that much money, you might as well just re-sign Tobias Harris. It's like
never.
We're all aware that Paul George is washed. Everybody was aware that Paul George is washed besides Daryl Boyd. Dex, I don't know how you felt about that signing.
I think out of 82 games, he'll play 54, and he'll probably ball out in 42. I'll say 42. He'll ball out.
He's already missed his threshold.
Chris, you are smoking crack if you think you're gonna ball out in 42 games.
But get. Paul George if you go look historically, Paul George goes on runs where he had played perfect for 8 to 9 games, and then had 2 games, and it's like, who is this guy? What you did with Paul George? Like, come on, man. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. Last year with the Clippers, he was an MVP candidate. Last year with the Clippers, he was an MVP candidate till he got hurt. He was an MVP candidate.
Chris, he's 34 years old.
But I was going to say,
why you know that?
There's a drop off.
But besides the fact that I think within the next few years, the only organization that should be paying Paul George's prize picks or whoever sponsors his podcast.
Hello.
I was very upset by the fact that the Sixers are playing terrible. Paul George is playing the worst basketball we ever saw him play. And he's doing podcasts talking about how trash they are, laughing with his friends. That's crazy to me. But on top of that, just from a culture perspective, Dex, how do you feel about Jared McCain possibly being your breakout star or a next core piece to your franchise? And after games, he's doing TikTok. He's putting up TikTok dances. I don't care what you do with that, even if the Sixers record is abysmal, even though he's overachieving?
Look, I get what you're saying. I want the kid to be himself. Like, this is nothing new. He didn't just start picking. Like, people knew him as a TikToker first before he was a hooper. So, and he's showing up. He's balling. He's just being himself, doing his thing. So as long as he's not going out there selling, or if he's trying his best, I can see he's like learning a lot on the fly, and he's like playing starters minutes, and he's leading the way for rookie of the year right now. So I say more power to the young dude, man. Keep doing your thing, keep making your TikToks. But it's disappointing to see, especially he's a 19, 20-year-old kid, but it's different coming from a guy like PG, like a guy who's, in the last couple chapters of his career, and, he just signed this massive contract. Like McCain is still on his rookie contract.
The age difference between Paul George and Jared McCain is old enough to be on that 4 state championship winning Cass Tech football team. Shout out to Coach Rushing and the boys over there for winning the 4. Yeah, man, we got the first 2 cracking. Donovan Peoples-Jones still got the 3rd one crack. That's neither here nor there. Congratulations to the boys on the 4th.
I was about to say, no, it's just so many, like just throughout the past couple years, it's so many times and clips and sound bites that we heard of Paul George, like, "Oh, y'all done woke me up. I'm back this year." And he
said I'm on my bully mode this year. Like, I think that's a direct quote. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not finna do that.
He meant Bullsworth like the school, like the game bully. He was like the kids that was getting paid. I'm gonna tell you, the 76ers' only path to redemption, because they are tied up in purgatory for a very long time if they don't make some drastic moves. Find a team that is in win now mode and go do something big. Chris said that he wants the jet to fly down to the southeast. I want the jet flying down to the southwest. Chris wanted the sexiest city in America. I want the ugliest. Go to OKC.
Right, so let's go to
Go to OKC.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them, hey, listen, you got a superstar that's available every night in SGA. You got a great core built around them. But you know what your problem tends to be in the playoffs? You're missing a big that can get it done. You're missing a pressure release valve for SGA. What if I had a solution to your problems? And let's be honest, a lot of those draft picks are going to turn into G League guys anyway. Come on, give me some of that draft capital. Y'all got the money to pay Embiid. Everybody over there is on rookie contract. OGs in OKC are 26 years old, for Christ's sake. Okay? The OGs in OKC doing TikTok dances and pretending to like oxtails, even though they grew up in Iowa. Come on. Let's wheel and deal. Let's talk. Even if you don't want Embiid, I'll give you Paul George. I'll give you something, because I think that their path to salvation is understanding. We have to make a pivotal move, not to tank, just to build for the future at all. Because if you hold what you have right now, right, do the 76ers have great draft capital, guys?
No. Oh,
it's not nothing.
Draft capital.
Yeah, it's solid.
Okay, they got solid.
We got our own pick.
I was saying it's regular.
I know we're
capital.
gonna use KJ. Yeah,
and Josh, that was my point. I think they have very regular draft capital. I don't think their path is through the draft, because you're not 1 or 2 pieces away. Again, Paul George is 34. He's falling off a cliff. We saw it. We watched him in real time. Like, yo, this ain't the same Paul George we knew. Like, this is just not it. And for reference, I know everybody's gonna say he's hurt, but Paul George this season, Chris, how many points a game do you think he's averaging? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's 14. I already know. I watched 14. It was 14 a game.
14 damn points.
He ain't played much. He getting blew out, or he ain't played much.
Chris, I'm sorry to tell you this. That man is washed. He is in the washer.
I'm not saying he's not washed. I'm saying you can have him play 56 games, and he's only a second option 42 of the 56. It's 82 games a season, Gibbs. I'm not even saying he's good for a full half a season.
Okay.
I'm not even saying he's good for a full half a season. That's not unrealistic for Paul George.
But what if you go shop him to a team that's not good but needs some ticket sales? What if you say, hey, Washington, y'all ain't doing nothing. Y'all ain't doing nothing with them draft picks. Listen. All I'm saying is this. Sorry ain't the guy. For it. You know sorry ain't the guy. Go ahead, give me a first. Give me a couple seconds for Paul George, because the problem is you're going to get the same results with or without Paul George. That's my biggest problem about it. If you can get rid of him, dump him off in Washington, dump him off somewhere, and get you a couple draft picks out the deal, do something. But I don't think there's a path through for this team I'm sorry, I don't think there's a path around the problems for this team. I think the only way is through, and by through, I mean you got to chop this roster up like a damn cheesesteak with extra other damn peppers on there, because this is terrible. This is terrible. I don't see a world where there's redemption for them without a meaningful rebuild at this point in time. I mean, for Christ's sake, them boys are barely beating Charlotte in the NBA Cup with no Melo and no Miles Bridges.
Yep.
They're just barely. Come on, man. Come on. With that being said, go ahead.
Real quick on that though, because what I talked myself into in the off season was, okay, I know we overpaid for PG. I know he's getting washed. I didn't think he was fully washed. I still don't think he's fully washed. I think he can get his averages up to 18 a game on decent efficiency. But we brought him in as a third option. He's not supposed to be the one or the two right now. And, you know, the fact that he keeps hyperextending his knee, you can see he's not moving the same. He's not trusting it. He's not getting any lift on that. So it's a mental block that he's got to get over too. But none of that matters if Joel's not healthy, because he's playing a role he just simply can't do anymore.
Yeah. Again, the reason I say they need to blow this up, I hear you and I understand it, but I'm saying this. How many guys, let me ask you this, Dex. Their GM or president of basketball operations, do you think he's in the role that he belongs in? Daryl Morey, do you think he's in the role that he belongs in, that he will make this team better at some point in time in the future?
Absolutely not. No chance. I have no faith in that. Who's
the 76ers head coach?
Nick Nurse.
Do you think Nick Nurse is in a position where he will make this team better? And
I thought he was
time in that meeting,
but Nick Nurse is looking like a white Doc Rivers right now. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, all right. So, your star player, Embiid, do you think he's in a place where him as your number one makes your team better?
Nope.
Who's your number two? Is it Maxey? Maxey's your number two, right?
It's Maxey.
Do you think Maxey is in a position where he makes your team better?
Absolutely.
Okay. Who's your number three? Paul George?
Paul George is supposed to be the number three.
Okay. Is he in a position where he makes your team better?
Not right now, no.
So we just went through the GM, head coach, star player, 2 and 3. And out of those 5, out of the 5 that drive your team, 1 is in a position that they're supposed to be or less than what they're supposed to be. 1.
It's not the foundation.
There's no way through this.
Nope.
This house needs, if this was a house, it would be condemned. The city of Detroit would have slapped one of those things on it that says, out for condemnation. Do not live here. Not fit for residency. That's what would have happened if this was out. You got to strip that thing down to the studs and build it back up. And I know 76er fans are tired of it being stripped down to the studs. But at this point, Daryl Morey's backed y'all into a corner where that you can have one of the most expensive rosters in the league and be 4-14. But is that what you want? I mean, how many teams do y'all think is more expensive than the 76ers in the NBA?
Suns, Celtics.
Not a lot.
I'd probably say Celtics.
I'd say four, maybe 4 teams.
Okay, 4. How many you got, Josh?
I'd say 2.
Okay, Dex, how many you got?
I'll say 2 also.
They're the 9th most expensive team in the league. 9.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I thought it was worse.
Here's the problem. They're 9, and each and every one of the teams in front of them is exponentially ahead of them. Each and every one of them. Like that's the big draw of like, hey, there's a problem here. And also, I think that's a little out of date because they still got Minnesota paying out a ton of money, but I'm not sure how much they gave up or took on with the Cat Randall trade. Not sure. But anywho, either way you cut or slice it, being 9th in the league in payroll while
They
being...
paid Gobert, so that's right. They paid Gobert.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's facts. That's facts. Yeah. Being 9th in the league in payroll while being, 28th in the league in like actual results, 29th in the league, brother, you can't. Yeah. Again, that's untenable. You can't make that. You can't make that work.
And
man.
every team that's ahead of them is either a championship contender or a team that we know for sure is making the playoffs.
Hey now, at minimum. But fellas, we got to talk about this NBA Cup before we get out of here. What do y'all think about it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What would you tweet, if anything?
Okay. I like it. The reason that I like it is it's still some tweaks to be had. I don't know what those tweaks could be. I say it need to be maybe some real stakes outside of a trophy and a little bit of money. But I like it because even with what they're getting now, the players are playing harder. We've noticed in the past couple years in the NBA, people don't care about regular season games. You know, well, I hate to sound like an old head, but when we were younger, we used to see battles in regular season games, and you rarely see that unless it's a rivalry that has like some bad blood, maybe. Like we saw that Golden State Dallas game a couple weeks ago. That felt like a playoff environment game, right? But in these NBA Cup games, you got random games. You got Rockets versus the T-Wolves or something. And it's a playoff environment because teams are trying to win these cup games. They're trying to put up as many points as possible, and it's competitive. I'm enjoying that. You don't see that in the regular season too often. The things that I would change, I understand you want it to look different. I understand you want it to present different. For starters, this could be related to the cup, and maybe they could use this to turn some more revenue. I like doing the different jerseys every year. However, Nike, who's in charge of the NBA jerseys now, just maybe has the worst team of graphic designers ever, because these are some ugly jerseys that we're seeing. That like these jerseys are, but I like the idea because that's like a piece of history. I got this Piston jersey from this year. That would be cool. The jerseys have to change, and that court has to change.
You don't like the super color courts?
No, it is an eyesore. It is distracting from basketball, and the only people that want to watch these games with a yellow court with an orange court are us diehard basketball. If you turn on an NBA Cup game and it's a casual basketball watcher, that court is going to immediately make them tune out from the action on the court, and I've seen it firsthand.
That's fair.
Like in like live, you went to a game because I think it doesn't translate the same through.
I've been to 4 Cup games.
I haven't seen it. And actually,
I've been to 4 Cup games this year.
Actually, I did see it in person, but the Pistons had that gray court, and that was cool.
Gray ain't the same as like the bright reds, right?
Like, even during the holiday, family is over, and you turn on the game, and the Lakers playing, and it's a yellow court on there. People don't want to see that. That's going to make them change the channel.
Yeah. So I've been to 4 Cup games, and what I will say, each time, you know, it's a conversation starter. First thing that comes on when you turn that game on TV, right? Someone's gonna ask, "What's wrong with the court? Why the court look like that?" Oh, it's NBA Cup. Oh, what's that? So it's forcing you to free publicity. It's forcing you to give free publicity for the NBA when you see that court, right? So that's what I like about it, and also. I'll just go ahead and get my take now. I really love the NBA Cup, right? The thing I love the most, though, is the point differential factor, right? Now it's like, all right, even if we beat the brakes off this team, we got to keep our starters in because we need to. Milwaukee got a plus 44. We got to beat this team by 30 to even be in the second seed to go to the quarterfinals. Right. And think about how much we talk about basketball in the heat of the NFL season right now. I mean, this is just moving the needle for me. Yes, NFL is still king, but the NBA, this is a step in the right direction to start gaining some of that ground in between the NFL and NBA. Only thing that I think can make the NBA better is if we had some more traditional style playing, right? Where you swallow the whistle a little bit more. I think the whistles make it kind of hard to watch some of the fouls, some of the controversial he calls, and this damn 2-minute report. What is that shit, man? Can we get rid of that, please? I don't give a shit if you made the wrong call and you tell me about it after the game. I don't care. We live or die with the call. You don't see them doing that in football no more. They been stopped doing that. When the last time you seen them do that in football, Gibbs?
I can't remember. The NFL
exactly.
Issue apology. It's just like, hey, the game is a game. What you want from us?
Thank you. What is this 2-minute report shit? Like, they got to stop that. Other than that, I think it's moving the needle. $500K for some of them rookies is a lot of money, life-changing money, right? That's something they can start a foundation with and just take it aside and invest it. Set themselves up. Because I'm tired of these black men getting going broke when they done with the NBA.
I will say real quick, as a person that got a day job, trying to watch the NBA is tough because it'll be a game with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, and you like, let me go ahead and finish this game real quick, and you up for another hour, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe the last. I can't remember what game it was, but it was a game that the last 2 minutes took 17 real-time minutes to play out. Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. I'm sorry. I don't like it. Can't stand it. Like, I get it. It's a close game. It's competitive. It shouldn't take no 17 minutes to play out a 2 minutes on the court. That's just insane. Dex, how you feel about the NBA Cup? You like it, hate it? It's all right. What you thinking?
Yeah, it's all right. I'm mostly neutral. Chris, I think you made some good points, though. You kind of swayed my opinion, so I would say I like it as opposed to being just like it's whatever. Because like what you said about the point differential, that just inherently makes players play until the very last whistle, which I appreciate. I agree with your point about the whistle, calling it more like a Euro style game. Maybe the 2-minute report is obviously not it. But you kind of breeze past the NFL point, and I actually think that kind of matters a little bit more because it's all football season right now. Like, yeah, I still don't think people really care that much more about just because it's a cup game. Like, you can make the schedule so when does the NFL season ends in mid-January, right?
Yeah, just about. Well, actually,
Regular season.
Oh yeah, regular season. Yeah, yes. The Super Bowl is in always first weekend of February, right?
Yep.
Second week in February, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I thought that there was
mid-December.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like there's an opportunity for when there's NFL is over. Now we have actual finals, like some kind of championship to look forward to in the basketball, and that's kind of like, so maybe that looks like spreading out some of the cup games more throughout the regular season, or just some kind of change in the schedule to kind of shift it, because I still feel like you put on some bright colored courts and jerseys and whatever, and you call it something else, but it's still just a regular season game at the end of the day, and football is clearly king right now. So that's probably what I would change about it, but. Hey, I'm a sicko, so I'm a watch it regardless.
Dex just put an idea in my head that I didn't even have until literally just this moment. What if you spread out the cup games throughout the regular season, first half of the regular season, and you have, instead of the All-Star game and like All-Star weekend as we know it now, you do All-Star weekend, but it's centered around the Cup championship.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
And then what you do with the Cup is wherever you are in the standings, you get a bump based on winning. So if you are, let's just say for kicks and giggles, somehow what was I about to call them boys? The Washington Mystics. That's how you know I've been in the WNBA trenches for real. Shout out to our good friend DeLon Sellers. We love you, girl. But anyway, if there was a situation where the Washington Wizards were to win it, right? If you're below the play-in, you get put in as the last seed in the play-in. If you're in the play-in, you get put in as the last team to not have to play in the play-in. If you're in the playoffs, you automatically get the 1 seed, so you get home court advantage all the way through.
I just wouldn't want to be the team that gets bumped off. Would that be decided by maybe a point differential thing then? Like if you get put into the playoff or the play-in, now my 10 seed team is just gets bumped out because
y'all should have won. Y'all should have won y'all should have won the cup. I don't know what to tell you. Like that's. Because to me, I think, and here's the other thing about it. Realistically, if we're thinking about this from a realistic standpoint, right? 9 times out of 10, the cup is not going to be won by a bad team. Like we said, for kicks and giggles, what if the Wizards win? 9 times, who have been the cup winners so far? I know the Lakers won the first one ever.
That's the only one. That's the only one. That's the only one.
The Lakers won the first one ever, and they were a playoff team last year. It wasn't like it was like, oh, damn, like the Lakers they just barely hold on.
Even an even better idea.
Talk to me.
Divisions don't matter in basketball. When you watch baseball, divisions are important. You want to clinch that division. Otherwise, you fighting a dog fighting a wild card. Same with the NFL. If you win your division, you fighting in a dog fighting a wild card. How about instead of having these cup groups, how about you make those groups the divisions? And the 4 winners of the division in that conference are the top 4 seeds. And if you come out and you're in the cup game, you get home court throughout the playoffs when the playoffs roll around.
Oh, so one team out the West, one team out the East, both get.
Yep, there's only one cup winner, but the 2 teams that went, they get home court throughout the entire playoffs.
I feel it. But see, to me, I think that when I want it to be as competitive as possible to bring back my ratings during All-Star weekend if I'm the NBA. You see what I'm saying? So I want y'all like scrapping, fighting, and dying about this. Like, hey, if you think that you're not going to get home court all the way, or if you want home court all the way, and you think them owners gonna play about missing out on some home court playoff games?
You can go ahead. You can go ahead and do that all the way to the end of the regular season. Do a certain group of games at the beginning of every month, so it's still competitive at All-Star break. Then at the end of the regular season, you have your last cup games, and you do that championship trophy presentation right before the playoffs start, along with the other regular season awards.
All I'm saying is this: if you tell them owners, hey, you get free home playoff games, your team don't even got to win out to get them. If they mess around and win this cup, boy, you're going to see Donald Sterling levels of racism if a player decides to take a night off during that cup. You're going to see them saying you're going to think we back in the 40s with it, the way that them owners going to act up. That somebody might get called a moon cricket. I'm just saying. It might happen. It might happen. Let it be say taking a back-to-back off during the cup where you costing the Philly owner some money. Boy, I'm telling you, it's going to get domestic. It's going to get real nasty in there. That's all I'm saying. But anywho, Dex, thank you so very much for coming out, man. Tell the people where they can find your work.
Man, you can't find me nowhere right now. Like Chris said, I'm a family man. You can follow me on Instagram, _Rome13. I'll be with my wife and my dog nowadays. But yeah, Flex Hoops in my YouTube channel. It's not officially retired, but in all intents and purposes, I'm going to just keep being a casual watcher, enjoying my thing. So I appreciate y'all for having me on, man.
Hey, we appreciate you for having us, even though we had to talk about them bum-ass 76ers the whole show, man. But come on back. Come on back. We always going to have you back. We're going to talk about some more things. And brush up on your football, because we're going to talk some of that pig skin next time you on here, all right?
Oh, please. Come on now.
All righty. Well, thank y'all so very much for coming out. I know y'all tired of us talking about Embiid and them shaky knees, talking about Podcast P and his shaky knees. Hold on, wait a minute. There's a trend there. Anyway, I know y'all tired of us talking about the 76ers and their bad decisions and the NBA and what they need to do with the NBA Cup and whether or not the NBA is going to overtake the NFL one day in terms of ratings. But come on back to next week and the week after that and the week after that. Peace and love, y'all.